I'll be doing a project in the woodworking shop today. We recently remodeled our guest bathroom. And I'm going to be building a little called a linen cabinet. It's to house towels, soap, cleaning products, different things. So I'm going to get started on that today. Here's a picture of what I'm going to be building. I'm going to be using some cherry that I have up here on the top wood rack. This wood's already been planed. It's ready to build. I've got several pieces up there. Probably will have to rip one to get enough pieces, but I have some smaller ones that have already been ripped. But that'll be my 4 uprights. The cabinet's going to be approximately 4 foot tall. So the lower section, I'm going to, with the slats and the door, it'll be 28 inches tall. And then the top section will be 20 inches. So we're going to need some 48-inch pieces of cherry for the 4 corners. We'll do that first. So I'm going to rip this down to 2.5 inches. So our 4 corners of the cabinet, 2 in the front, 2 in the back, they'll be 2.5 inches each. And then we'll fasten this nailer to the insides of them for the slats to nail to. All right, here's my 4 pieces I have ripped to 2.5 inches. And just a note about ripping a wider board. These boards had a rough edge on both sides. So I set my fence at 2 3/4, ripped all of them to 2 3/4, and then I went back and set the fence at 2.5 and ripped off that rough edge. But we've got them all ripped. And I have a couple of strips here I can use for the nailer. So I think we're about ready to start to put some of this together. Because I want a little bit of a reveal on the outside edge of these boards, I'm going to drop the nailer in about 1/2 inch. That way when I put my plywood slats in, I'll have about 1/4 inch of reveal on the edge. Go ahead and put my 4 nailers in. They'll go in right like that. And there's the first nailer. 28 inches tall. So that's where the shelf right here that goes across. And this will be the door opening at the bottom here. Slight change of plan. In looking at these 4 uprights, for no larger than this cabinet is, they looked too wide. So I ended up ripping them down. They look more in proportion now to the size of the cabinet. So slight change on that. Ended up ripping them 1 3/4 1 3/4 across. All right, starting to put some of the slats on. And in looking at the picture, it looked like they were about 1/2 inch apart. So I'm just using this stick as a gauge. That way they'll all be uniform. So we've got about 5 more to go till we get down to where the bottom shelf goes. I'm making some pretty good progress. Lunchtime, so I'm going to go eat me a bite of lunch, and I'll come back and work on it some more after lunch. Have the slats on both sides. This is the left of the cabinet, looking at it from the front, left side, right side. So I have the slats on both sides. Need one more down here, but I've got to wait until I put the shelf in the very bottom, and I'll put the last slat in. But it's coming along. And to make the side and the back slats on the cabinet, I just bought this 1/4 inch plywood, smooth on both sides, and I just set my saw at 1 3/4 inches. That's what these are. So I'm able to get 2 out of the one wide piece. Then I have these left over. I have several of them, probably 5 or 6 already, that I'm hoping to use in the door, because the door slats are slightly smaller than the cabinet slats. So I'm trying to make good use of all the wood. And these boards were, I think, $2.98 or something, $3 a piece, but I'm able to make, they're 3 foot long. I'm able to make 6 foot of slats for the sides and the back, and then, like I said, I have these left over for the door. So pretty good bargain there. The fact that they're smooth, you don't have to put any finish on them if you don't want to. Minimal sanding. They're really smooth surfaces, so it's going to work out pretty well. And before I cut the other shelves, like the center shelf I have there, I'm going to go ahead and put the slats in the back, and I'll line them up with the slats that are here. And then I'll cut my shelves to fit in between. Well, there's a completed cabinet except for the door. So I think we're going to take a break. Pretty good day's work. It's about 3 o'clock, so I've been maybe 4 hours of what I've done here. And I think it looks pretty good. You'll notice I recessed the shelves, the bottom shelf and the next 2 where the door will be. So I plan on making the door flush with the sides. And then this shelf, I brought it out even with the front. And making the top for the cabinet, it's just 1 inch wider than the cabinet is from side to side. That gives me a 1/2 inch of overhang on each side. And then it's a 1/2 inch deeper than the cabinet is, because I wanted it flush on the back, and then a 1/2 inch overhang on the front. That's pretty simple to make, just a square, not doing any router work. We want the sharp edges, just like you see. So that'll work for that. As to the finish of the cabinet, we're going to leave it natural, so we'll just be putting some polyurethane over the wood, the color you see there. I think we was able to build one that looks similar to the one that we picked out, that we found, so I think it'll work. And here's a solution I came up with to put the slats in the door. Here's my 4 door pieces that I have cut. I just plowed a groove on each side, and of course I need to cut these, and I need to rip them too, make them smaller, but they'll just set down in there, and they're flush. And there's what the door will look like when I get it all put together. We'll have to make the same spacing between each slat, but that requires some arithmetic, and I'll have to do that before I get ready to put the slats in. but it should work. Here's the back of the door after it's all assembled. Just air nailed the slats between the two uprights. And there's the front of the cabinet with a door installed. I just used these 3-inch hinges. Kind of overkill for a little door like that, but I had the hinges. They're brand new. They were hanging here on the wall, so I decided to use them. They look okay. And for a catch on the little cabinet I built, just a simple little wood catch. You open the door and you have storage inside. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the like button, and we'd love it if you would subscribe to our channel. Thanks.